Good day all. I'm here on the studio today to tell you another new update on science and technology and our environment at large. Now, today, before we move to the topic of today, I would like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new update of which YouTube now updates you on the new information and the lesson informing science and technology. Now, remember that in my channel, we are here to educate you. We are here to inform you and to enhance you on the problems and the factors and the uses of what is happening in our daily life environments at large. Now, today's topic, we want to move into an area known as plastic pollution. You want to look into the area as our title or the topic of today, which is known as plastic pollution. Now, what is plastic? Let us start with plastic. Now, plastics are thermodynamic thing or which we use. Is the fabrication of materials from one process to another. Now, which we have like in like polystrings. Now, like this plastic now is classified into two dimensions. We have the thermoset and the thermodynamic. Now, what is the meaning of pollution? Pollution is a release of harmful substances into the atmosphere or the environment. Now, the release of harmful substance to our immediate environment tends to be as pollution. Now, what is plastic? What is known as plastic pollution? A plastic pollution is the ability by which our raw materials being used from the consumers being exposed to our immediate environment. Now, it can take years, it can take months, it can take a series of time for a particular due of plastic to do not decay. Now, this causes as in form of environmental factor which affect us either in one way or the other. Now, what are the contents of this environment of plastic pollution? Now, the plastic pollution which contain material and the oil, the material and the oil. Now, let us use like polystyrene as a case study. Now, if you now set fire on it, what you now have as your byproducts is the material and the oil being burned. Now, the ability by which the composition being released to the atmosphere could now tender what? A sign change in the atmospheric condition, which is tend to be what? As climatic change. Now, the climatic change of a particular region, it can be varies with respect to the contents of the material of that plastic being burned. Now, you know that we have many aspects or many contents in plastics. Now, the content being built by particular use of plastics is based on the nature of the hydrocarbon content in it. Now, hydrocarbon content in a sense that based on the percentage and its composition. Now, a plastic and plastic are not the same based on the density and the range by which it is variable in a society. Now, let us take it for example. Now, we have use things like on polystrings. Now, if you burn it now, what you now discover is the oil and the material in it. So now, which means that it's what? It's the byproduct of petroleum. Yes, it's a byproduct of what? Of what? Of oil and gas. So therefore, in the climatic condition of a particular means of plastic being burned, it causes what? Environmental factor. Yes, that's what we know as environmental pollution. Now, as the pollution rate being growing, the other things involved of which will now affect the environment. Now, if let us see how we can classify this. Like, let us use like three perspectives. Now, the pollution of plastics can be looked into. Let us say one is environmental factor, two is climatic factor, and three is the ocean factor. Respect to way by which that very quantity is being conveyed. Yes. Now, mind you, that we said that a plastic is which contain what two two substance, which is the hydrocarbon and what and crude oil. The hydrocarbon, which is the hydrogen and carbon. Now, if you look onto it, is gas and what and material, and which means that the material is the oil and the gas is what maintain the heat content on that very substance when it is exposed to burning. Now, looking critically into it is that a particular content of plastic can be burned, can be conveyed based on its immediate environment. Now, what really happen when it comes to the environmental factor or like the climatic factor? The climatic factor will not occur in the sense that based on the material content of that very usage. Now, environment or as a climatic factor cannot change without any effect, either burning or the material to take place. Now, let us move to the ocean aspect. Now, burning or dumping a plastic in an ocean, what are the prerequisites of it? Now, I from an experimental view from the scientists like Mr. Davis, which tell us that when a particular content of plastic being dumped in a river, or sorry, being dumped in an ocean, which now correlate. Now, the correlation of that very materials with respect to the ages, which is the time taken for that very material to non-decay, will be long. And with respect to the material being made of that very tools, will not take time and its decomposition. Now, which can also result to what? To aquatic what? Issues. Will now affect the fishes in the oceans, either from one angle to the another, from one spot to another. Now, another thing that we can see, what are the conditions by which we can maintain these things? What condition can we put for us to maintain this thing not to happen to our environment, the climatic factors, and the oceans? But before we now move into that, I would like you to watch these very movies, these very videos from the beginning to the end, for you to learn the facts and the existences and the pre-upcoming of what's happening in a society and the global world at large. I would like you to click on the smart red thumb button below for any of my movies coming up. Then the YouTube will signify you to tell you that this thing, this is what is happening here on this channel. No, what are the major by which we can put to implement or to safeguard it? Now, from my own observation and my experimental making or finding, I observed that like in ocean, things like plastic burning, we need to use something like incinerator. That's why moving to an industry, some industry that work or they are making use of that as one of their own usage. They have something of which they don't take care of it. Now, like in some company, they have quality controls. They have to take immediate control of particular things of which they are doing. Now, let us take a look at our environment. Let us use our environment as a brief case study of which human being like us, even to a layman, can even easily understand it. Now, let us assume that you have some plastic in your environment or in your house. Now what you need to do is to find a conducive place of which you keep it, constantly keeping it till when it grows to an age's time of which you need to burn them. Now burning it, what you now require in burning those plastics, one is the atmospheric what time and condition. If the weather is cloudy or sunny or moderate, you maintain the specific time and the weather nurture or which you need to set fire on that very thing. Now, accumulating times of getting rid on that very of plastic. One thing that you observe that is what is climatic change. If you look at the climatic condition or at the spot of that very place of which you born that this thing, you now see that things will change. The factor affecting that very environment what you are doing with or whatever thing that which you work with, you now do what change. Respect to the what to the time and the burning rate of that very tools or of that very user software or which you now set fire on. So I would like you to watch this video from the beginning to the end, extracting the facts and the coins and the importance and the aspect of which you need to follow in keeping your environment and the climatic factor and things around you, and even educating somebody around you that this is what you need to do to keep you safe. Now, if you look into this topic as a case study, I learned that from study, I learned that some plastic contents are toxic. Some plastic contents are toxic in the sense that they affect human health. Because anything that is harmful to the environment, it would easily affect human being living as a whole. Because we human beings, we inhale, through our inhaling, we now interact with our immediate environment from one tool to another. So I would like you to watch my movies from the beginning to the end, learning and extracting the impact of science and development in our society. Thank you all.